I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:33 p.m. And let's start with roll call. Luke Aguilar.
Here.
Dr. Kathleen Barlow.
Here.
Joey Bryant.
Here.
I'm here. Dr. Serafini.
Here.
Trey Justin.
Here.
Dr. Martin Kennedy.
Here.
Jacqueline Robinson.
Here.
Vinay Skiles.
Here.
Brittany Stames.
Here.
Did I pronounce that right?
Stamnus.
Stamnus. Thank you. Oh, Brittany Kinsella.
Here.
There we go. Patrick Stanton.
Here.
Andrew Sullivan. Spencer Sutton.
Here.
Did I say that right?
Sutton.
Sutton. All right. Dora Van Epps.
Here.
And Tom Votren. All right. Moving on to agenda approval. If you guys could take a minute to review the agenda. All right, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda for this week. Brittany,
So moved.
is there a second? Second. Trey seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
I wasn't here.
It's
For
approving
the
the agenda.
agenda tonight?
Oh. That was the minutes.
He's not here right now.
Moving on to the approval of last week's minutes. If you guys could take a minute to review those. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October 19th.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Brittany. Is there a second?
Second.
Cherry seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? 2 abstentions. Motion passes. All right, moving on to reports. One report that I have is I would like to welcome our newest member to our S&A committee, Jacqueline Robinson. Yeah, would you like to say anything about yourself?
Put you on the spot. How about what year you are?
I'm a sophomore, going into music, so, yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. And that's it for my reports.
Only thing I have is next week we will be back up in 301, so you don't have to worry about here. And those of you who already went up to 301 today, we will be there next week. And then we do have the pictures set up for the committee pictures, but it's not until November 16th or whatever day might be around there. If that's a Wednesday, then that's the right date. You'll get it in advance, but it's in the middle of November, whenever it is. So make sure you all know in advance that the committee pictures are coming up at that point. So I think that's all I have.
All right. Moving on to public comment first call. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing none, moving on to section 7, old business. No old business. Moving on to section 8, new business. We're going to start with supplemental funding request 1701 with WSELP for $6,512.65. And just as a reminder, you guys have 10 minutes to present and 10 minutes for question and answer. Thank you.
PD Chair, committee members, honored guests, we appreciate this privilege to be able to tell you about our program and submit our proposal for the Wildcat Student Employment Leadership Program. So, I'm Kathy Johnson, I'm HR partner in HR, and with me is Stacy Slay-Lehman, the Executive Director of HR, and 2 CWU students, Madi Martinez and Sydney Johnson, who are going to talk to you in just a minute about their experience with our program. So, just to give you a little history, about 3 summers ago, we had a focus group of people from all over campus that got together, had a common purpose and a common goal. that we wanted to have an opportunity for student employees that would complement their academics to help them get a successful job, career job. So what we did the first year, we had a pilot program. 10 students were allowed to be in it. They had to submit an essay to participate. It was very successful. So the next year we had, we allowed student employees to be in it, and we had 221 students come through the program. 35 students earned a certificate. This year we've already had, counting with the 221, we're up to 259 students. We have 38 new students that came, and if we have a class tomorrow, so if the two that came, the first two, they come tomorrow, we'll have 20 certificates that we're going to be handing out tomorrow. So why do this? So we wanted to have something that was free for all students and that would complement their learning and their employment opportunities, like I said earlier, to help them get that career job. And we wanted to have an opportunity to build those core competencies that everyone needs. So what will they gain going through this? They will gain being able to put professional development and workshops on their resume, give them that competitive edge. We wanted to have a safe place that they could come and learn and explore new things and leadership skills. So what we did was did a lot of research. We sent out surveys. The first survey was for supervisors and student employees, and we said, what issues are you finding with your students? What problems do they have? And if we could give a workshop, what would it be? So what they said was they don't know what work ethic is, they don't know what work etiquette, work ethics, and they don't get along with their coworkers. And so we put together this employee distinction to cover all those problems. The next thing is we send a survey to student employees, ask the same thing. What are your problems? What are your issues? What are you frustrated with? We could offer you a workshop. What would it be? Their issues were time management, stress management, and finances. And so together, with those things, we put together a work-life balance certification. So then we did research on what employers are looking for in recent grads, and the same thing kept coming up over and over, communication. And so we went to the communication department and said, help us put together a workshop series for communication skills. And so we put that together. And the next one was leadership skills. We kept seeing that. Supervisors want leadership skills. So we worked with the Center of Leadership here on campus, and they helped us put together this leadership certification. So we looked at what is the mission of CWU, what is really important to us that we want to instill in our students to go with them. Diversity and inclusivity is very important to our university, so we worked with the Center of Diversity and Social Justice, and we came up with a diversity certification. So those are the 5 key areas. There's three workshops in each one to get a certification. There's 15 workshops throughout the year, one about every 2 weeks. So we have quality presenters. We want it to be a quality program. And so we have 5 directors across campus, experts in their fields that come and talk. We have 6 professors from ITAM, College of Business and University Housing, and 4 staff members, and also the credit union. So this summer, some exciting things happened. The Alumni Relations contacted us and said that we're putting on a mentorship for 3 different groups on campus, and they chose us as one of them. So if a student gets 2 certifications, we match them up with a CW alum in their field of study. We feel that will open up doors and networking for them. That'll be a good opportunity. Career Services approached me this summer and said, we'd like to be a part of your program. And so they're offering 2 certifications through their workshops. And then also Penn State called me, and they did Googling, and they found our workshops. And they said, we want to do that, and we want to replicate it. It looks like an awesome program. And so that was really exciting. I Googled it. When we first started, there was one other college. I Googled it recently. There's a handful now. So it's starting to catch on through campuses across the nation, and we are cutting edge. So now I'm going to turn it over to our students to tell their experience.
Hi, my name is Marie. I am a senior, and I am a double major in accounting and human resource management. And I know Kathy explained what the program is, and I wanted to talk about sort of the value that it is that brings to students. I mean, like she said, you learn a lot of the things that you don't learn in class. I mean, work ethics, cultural awareness, generational differences in the workplace. I mean, I've never taken a class that talks about that. So it's really neat to be able to go to a workshop to learn about this. These are all issues that are, that go on in the workplace. Employers, like she said, they're looking for these. I think that it really helps boost a resume when you have these on there. I actually just applied to an internship at a public accounting firm, and I was interviewed last Thursday. And one of the interviews is with the head partner of that firm. And he says, wow, tell me about this. And he was really impressed, and he said, this is something that I would be interested in doing myself, just looking at the different workshops that I'd taken. And even offering them to his staff. So I think that it's really valuable. It's things that we can implement and, we can use in our current job as a student employee, but also that things that we can take with us as soon as we graduate. So I think the program's really valuable.
Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Johnson and I am a senior this year and my major is mechanical engineering technology. I actually work on 2 locations on campus. I work in the theater arts department and the ETSC department. And I actually started taking these courses not knowing what it was in my sophomore year, just out of general interest. And it wasn't until my junior year where I saw the pamphlets and it was more widely known that it was actually part of the whole program and you actually received certificates. And from then I was actually encouraged to continue and complete the whole thing, and I had taken all 15 courses. And I think it was a very valuable experience. Not only do you learn things just in class from people who actually have experience in these areas, at the end with the certification you also get a book that you can take home with you to look further into that specific area. And just like Mabai, I had same experience with job interviews for the career fair that we had here. Just within like 10 minutes of being around and talking to companies, I noticed that a lot of people who were hiring were looking specifically for leadership positions. And having shown them my resume, I had a lot of clubs that I've been officers for, but they were just kind of like, yeah. And when they saw the WSCLP program and I explained to them what it was, they got really excited, and I had 2 job interviews right off the bat. The people who didn't have interviews set up for the campus had encouraged me highly to put my resume and application through the actual website that they had their applications run through. And I found that most people in my program who also went through the same experience had not been met with such vigor from all these people, and I actually had a lot. So it's very valuable, and I really enjoy it. And Kathy's really amazing too, and you can tell she cares about the students and has been emailing and is really good about what she does, and I enjoyed the program very much.
So, Lenny, the total cost is $38,000. As you can see, the salaries are the biggest part of it, and then we have supplies, advertising, and facilities. So we have committed, all the salaries are donated. My boss is very nice to let me work on it, and so we're asking for $6,500, and that basically is just for the supplies and advertising and certificates and AV equipment. So this is not part of the mandate of HR, what we're mandated to do on the university. So this is above and beyond what we don't have in our budget, and so that's why we're coming for you today, to be able to supplement us to complete the program. That's our proposal.
Thank you. I'd like to open this time up for questions.
Will you go back to run through slides for me real quick? Wait.
Oh, the menu?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm wondering if any of the, first off, I want to say this sounds like a really awesome program, and I'm in the Family and Consumer Sciences department, and we have a practicum class in our department, and our practicum teacher has been looking into sending our students to you guys. So I'm so happy that we have this resource here on this campus. So I'm going to start off with that. But I do have a question about whether or not any of the items that are in your budget that we would be funding would be like for things like gifts to students, because I think that's outside the boundaries of our ability to fund, if I'm not mistaken.
Like the promo items.
Yeah, anything that would be a gift, or that could be categorized as a gift.
So the promo items are items to advertise the program.
Okay.
If you ever put on workshops, it is so hard to get students to come. And so, I don't know if you saw for refreshments, I personally pay for those out of my own pocket, because I know if they have food, they might come. And so, those are just some extra things to get students to come. I know career services, they have really hard time getting, they just get a handful of people, and we had like 37 students last time. But there's a lot of advertising, there's a lot of getting the word out, and that's just what the promo items and things with some of our name on it for branding and that sort of thing.
So it'd be like pens or just like little,
Yeah.
like swag kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question about advertising. It is a large portion of what you're asking us for.
Yes.
This is my 5th year at Central, and I've honestly never heard of your guys' program. It sounds super awesome, and I wish I would have known about it.
So were you a student employee?
Yes, I was.
Okay, because we kind of we push with the supervisors to encourage their students. So I don't know where you work, but, so the pamphlet that you have, that you got, those we had produced, they cost $400. We already went ahead and did that, and, so I work with the publicity upstairs, and, they do kind of a package deal where they put the posters out, they put it on the boards out front and in hype and things like that, and they kind of take care of it for us.
How often are your workshops?
So there's 15, one about every 2 weeks. And we initially made it to be, you could do a couple freshman year, a couple, so we didn't expect Cindy to do it all one year, but I think kids get really excited about it and they like to do it, so. Yeah, we don't do it like right at the beginning of the quarter, and we don't do it during finals.
So I have a question. Could you go back to the previous slide with all the numbers? So that funding is, the only amount there, S&A funding would be from the S&A committee, the rest is from somewhere else. And we
In
don't-
kind, yes.
Yeah, and so there's no base funding from S&A for this, right? Okay, and then if you go to that other one, which is the detail of the 65, right?
Oh.
Yeah, okay. So we have these, S&A policies, this is the evaluation criteria, and it's helpful, I think, for the committee members to go through those, and then see how your presentation needs, and, it says the first one, requests that pertain to conditions that were not reasonably anticipated at the time of base.
Point of order,
Oh.
Pat, just so you know. This is really just time to ask questions of them, because next week we'll discuss the priorities for the funding. Yeah, they're presenting this week, yeah. So if you had a question,
I do have
you
a
could,
question.
yeah.
Maybe.
I had a feeling you might.
Okay, so I'm just not sure if she's seen these, and I guess, my basic question would be, in their minds, which of these would they feel theirs fits in? And, I believe they filled out the request, right?
Just to clarify, are you asking in terms of the priority
Yeah.
evaluation sheet criteria?
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't be able to answer that, but because they haven't received base funding, they would be a new program outside of that. That does not result in a payroll position. So to answer your question.
So just one question, could you say a little bit about the facility rental services AV line?
Yeah, so it's actually just using the AV cart. They charge $100, so we've already done 2, so it would just be for the rest of the year. We have 12 to go. $100 times 12.
With the notepads and pens, are those ones, are those general notepads or are those
Yeah.
ones specific to the?
Those are
okay.
general. Because sometimes they don't come with anything to
Yeah.
write, and, and I'm in professional development now, and we do for staff, and that's what we do for staff, so it's nice to treat the students that way, to be prepared if they don't have to take notes. And she was talking about the books, these are the books. So we asked the communication department if I could give one book to your students, what would it be? And she said Difficult Conversations. This is Backpack to Briefcases. They don't get this book, but that's the first series I talked about. It's kind of this book, helping them get their job. Effective Immediately, How to Fit In, Stand Out, and Move Up at Your First Real Job. So this is the one they get from that first one. And Why Didn't They Teach Me in This School? 99 Money Management. This is the work-life balance book. And I didn't bring the other 2. There's a leadership book and a diversity book that they both suggested, those departments.
Are there any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. I think that we're also supposed to ask you if you believe that there's a benefit to any non-participating students. Students like this, do you feel like this program would benefit the campus or just students in general because of what you guys do?
Absolutely, and they just testified to how it benefited them. That's what we want to give them, like I said, a cutting edge over, because when you get your degree and you're going to apply for a job and there's going to be 200 other kids that have a degree, maybe they also have works experience, but you're going to need something more to stand out from the other people, like she said. So that's what our goal is, and there's, like they mentioned, there's so much you don't learn in the class. Like the supervisor said, they don't know work ethics, they don't know work etiquettes. They're not learning that in class. And that's something you really need to know when you get a job. So I think it's an awesome benefit to be able to get that extra teaching that you're not going to get with your degree, unless you have a business degree or something like that. I know they have that a lot there, but chemistry degree or something like that, you're probably not going to get those things, which are really crucial. Yes.
I'm wondering though, for people that don't participate, that don't do the classes, could it still benefit the campus environment perhaps by having, if you do target student employees in particular, by making the workplace environment more, I don't know, effective or healthier, I guess, for students who don't participate because they're maybe interacting with other students who have participated, or I don't know, is there some like sort of trickle down effect that this could have even for students who don't actually participate in the classes? I don't know.
Okay, I think there is because, well, we as employees are also dealing with students, so even if there's non-students not taking these courses, we're interacting with them, and if we have better skills to work with them, they also have a better view of what the campus is like because they are interacting with people who have those skills that they have developed. But even then, we have the ability to raise the status of the school. Like she said, Penn State has also contacted us about our program. And if other universities and other companies view our school as producing students who are capable of this, then everybody else has a better light shined on them as well.
I have one last one, and I think you answered this already, but is there any requirement or restrictions to students to be able to participate in the program, or is it open to all?
Yeah, so this year, students came that weren't student employees, and we didn't turn any away, but this year, yes, it's definitely all students, and in fact, we have some master's students that are coming, so yeah, we definitely want all students to come.
Sarah?
Is there any potential for offering this to students on the west side?
So, I have another good question. So we have been looking into doing like a video that they could watch, because we have students who like have to staff their front office and they can't leave. And so I have been working on putting together some videos that they could watch and submit an essay. We've also talked about videotaping as well. Some of are interactive and they talk in groups, and so it's not really, you can't get much out of the video and people interacting with it. But yeah, we definitely have been talking about that and we'd love to do that.
Because West Side students, do they pay the S&A fee as well? So that's great.
Are there any further questions? All right, thank you guys. Oh, yeah, we'll be voting on this next week. Moving on, we're moving on to supplemental funding request 1702, PASIC in the amount of $143.
Good evening, my name is Adam Dokirala and I am a fifth year senior here at Central and I study percussion performance and I'm in the Central Washington University Percussion Studio. And this year I'm attending PASIC, which is Percussive Art Society International Convention. I went last year. So I'm going to give a brief introduction as to what PASIC is. It's an annual convention rotating between Texas and Indiana locations. It's one of the largest drum and percussion festivals in the entire world. This year it's being hosted in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Indianapolis Convention Center. And it's going to be running from November 9th through the 12th. So PASIC has around 120 different master classes, clinics, labs, demos, and lectures being presented by some of the top percussionists in the world and other musicians. And there's also an exhibit that includes 200 or more exhibits that are showcasing latest products or demos. And at the end of the day, there's a bunch of concerts and competitions going on for everyone who's attending. So I attended last year as just a regular attendee, and it was a really amazing experience. It was a big eye-opener. I met so many people. I learned so much from all the different clinics I went to. I really wanted to go again this year, but I didn't think I would, be able to go again due to funding. But I contacted Amy Putnam, and she is she runs Amy Putnam Mallets, and she is based in Issaquah, Washington. And she is very close with our studio, especially with the professor. And she needed someone to help her at her expo, at the exhibit. And so I asked if she still needed any assistance. And she said yes, she actually does need somebody. So I will be helping her and working for her at her booth for the 4 days, helping sell some of her mallets and just getting some experience with that. So some of the main benefits for attending PASIC is the networking, meeting all these different people, meeting different professors from different universities, different artists and percussionists, getting the first-hand experience. And in this case, this year I'll be, helping for a company at the expo, so I'll have some entrepreneurship experience. And PASIC really gives percussionists the opportunity to expand their percussion knowledge and horizons. And this is a really important emphasis to my musical education and career because it is such a, it's such a prominent event that happens every year, and having that on a resume or even being able to attend it is amazing. So for compensation and personal spendings, because I'm helping Amy at the expo this year, she is covering my registration and all access pass to the whole convention, so the day pass, the pass to the exposition, and I have access to all the master classes and everything with compensation with my work that I'm going to be doing. And she has me doing 2 to 4 hours in the morning, in the afternoon, and towards the evening. And then she also has me covered for one night at the hotel because the hotel is really expensive. She couldn't afford to have me at all 3 nights. But fortunately, I was able to find an Airbnb accommodation like a block and a half from the convention center, which is really nice. I didn't want to have to find a hotel and spend, like $200 a night because I'm not even going to be there for the majority of the day. I'm just going to be there to sleep. So I was able to find an Airbnb location that's walking distance from the convention. And the things that I'm requesting to get funded for are my flight, which is round trip $395, and then my Airbnb accommodation for the first 2 nights that I'll be there, and then any transportation, and I'll probably be taking an Uber because it's usually cheaper, so it'll be between $25 and $36 round trip to and from the airport, because then I'll be walking to the convention. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Patrick?
What's the registration and all access pass? What would that cost you?
Over the summer they do early registration, so it's around $150 for students. And then for if I were to register right now, it'd be close to around $300 for that. And there's different levels of the registration. Like you can get a 1-day pass, a 3-day pass, an all access pass.
Yeah.
So she would be compensating me for pretty much an all access
The
pass.
biggest one.
And I'd be getting a name tag with my like where I'm from and what my purpose is and my I guess my status. So I'd be considered an exhibitor for the exhibit. So.
I noticed that the money you had up on the last slide doesn't match.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna talk about it. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
So I was originally requesting money from SAS, but due to the senator representative for the music department has not been established yet, so I was not able to get a signature. I was told that it would be another 2 weeks before I can get a signature, but I'm leaving in 2 weeks, so it wouldn't be valid. So I was given permission to request the extra money that I was requesting for SAS for S&A. So it would be a total. So $138 for Airbnb for 2 nights, and then around $195 for the flight. Sorry, $395. Oh. And then I'd say maybe $30 for the Uber, so around $563 total for everything, for the total trip. Yeah.
Brittany?
If you went last year, what skills and stuff do you think that you brought back and were able to share with other people in your department?
So for every, unfortunately I couldn't attend all of the master classes and clinics every year because some of them are, they're like classes every hour. There's a bunch going on here and then a bunch going on here, and you can't attend all of them. So I did my best to attend all the ones that I was interested in and I thought I could benefit from, and most of them had packets or information you could hold on to. Obviously I took notes as well, and so I came back and shared that with the studio and kind of talked about my experience and anything else that I personally gained from the experience and the master classes and clinics. I personally apply that to my performance or my lessons or any musical experience. So.
Brittany?
You said lessons. Do you give lessons to other students or?
Yeah, or like in a master class, or like when I'm in a lesson with my professor and I'll talk about like something that I'm doing and he's saying, why are you doing that? And I could say, oh, something that I could consider trying that I learned here. So.
This might just be for my own ignorance. You referenced master classes. Are you grad student, or are those like some class that I don't know about?
Oh, master classes are like clinics. So like there's a presenter and he's talking about an orchestral percussion technique, and they give a 50-minute presentation on that, and maybe they'll have people come up and be like guinea pigs for that clinic, and then there's people who can attend and learn from it and ask questions.
Good question.
Yeah.
So from the people who are teaching your master class, do you believe that you can create like good enough connections that they could reference you for any future job positions? Like, would you be meeting new people who could also help your resume later on?
definitely it depends on who I meet, because it's kind of hard to talk to everybody, but I've ran into professors from the state, from different schools, so it's nice to connect with them there. I've also done several orchestra festivals this last summer, and I've met a bunch of other people like me, students from all over the country that were attending last year, and we didn't even realize we're all there. We would talk about it, and then some of us are meeting up again this year, which is really nice. So.
Sir?
I'm curious why you're the only percussion student who is going to this or is presenting here. What was the criteria to be able to go on the trip, or is it just you were the only one that was interested, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is open for anyone to go. Our professor encourages all of us to go at least once in their lifetime. And the percussion studio is involved with a marching band, and they have a football game usually at this time, so most of them cannot attend. And also, if the studio were to go, it would be too costly for the entire studio to go. So I kind of made it work last year, and this year I'm not required to be in marching band or anything, so I have that time allotted. So, but it is encouraged for people to go, and if they get funding, then even better.
And with that, and I guess anyone answer, have you requested any money from the music department for this trip at all?
I have requested last year, and they don't do any personal funding. We do get every year we go on a Northwest Percussion Festival, like to Oregon or Bellingham, and we'll request like a van pool or something, but for personal, not really.
And I said that mostly because I know you did, for the reference of the new members of the committee. So.
Okay.
So of the total that it's going to cost you, you're only requesting 143, is that
No.
accurate or somehow I got
He amended the request just now.
to
563. 563.
Yeah, 563. Because I was originally requesting funds from SAS, but I'm not able to.
audit?
So.
Thank you.
So the Airbnb was 138 total for both nights combined? It's not 138 per night?
No, it's 138 for 2 nighs.
Good deal.
And this, everything else doesn't include food or any other little spendings. I'm getting breakfast covered at the Airbnb, which is nice, and then I don't have to really worry about food on my own for the convention, but I think the most important thing would be my flight, so.
And this is for 3 days?
It's for 4 days.
4 days.
The festival, the convention technically is 3.5 because it starts in the evening on Wednesday, but I was requested to come early by Amy to help her set up. So I'll be arriving in the early afternoon.
Okay. And part of that was, I think you, not that this matters, but I think you vastly underestimated how much the food will be for 4 days.
Oh,
Since I know you'd put $50, then,
yeah, I wasn't aware.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever signed a W-2 with Amy?
No, because she's not paying me directly.
Or even in
She's
the past?
no. This is my first time working for her. She does a mallet camp every year for students, and before I came to Central, I did a mallet camp, so that's kind of how I know her. She's also taught a few of the current percussionists that go here, and I've sort of slowly built a connection with her, and I called her one in July and asked, do you possibly need someone to help? And so she's compensating me for the attending of PASIC and one night for hotel for my work, so.
Are there any further questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be voting on this next week. Moving on the agenda to other business, communications received. I've not received any communications. All right. Moving on to section 10, public comment, second call. Is there any public comment at this time? Joey?
Again, just reminding we're upstairs next week. But also, and you correct me if I'm wrong on this, Brittany, we still have one student position available on the committee. So if you know of any students, yeah, encourage them to apply for it. So we can have a full committee going into base funding. That's all I have.
Thank you, Joe.
Someone over here.
Public comment, second call. Dr. Feeney?
Yeah, I'm gonna be at a conference next week, so I won't be able to come.
All right, thank you. Any further public comment? Moving on to section 11, adjournment. Right, yeah, adjournment. I'd like to entertain movement, okay. Patrick Stanton. Is there a second? Second by Luke. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Patrick abstained. Okay. This meeting's adjourned at 6:16 p.m.
I think you voted more than once there, Patrick.